be lots of interactive, like hands-on stuff that you can do. If you have an iPad, you can totally do a lot of this stuff with your students, with Google. It just takes a little bit more setting up. But the point I'm making is, if you have a laptop or a Chromebook, you might want to get it out and try to get it connected to the Wi-Fi if you want to play hands-on. If you just want to watch, that's okay, you don't have to. But I wanted to let you know ahead of time, there'll be lots of opportunities for you guys to jump in and do stuff in this session. Now I'll put train back on. I got you. So this session, you don't have to. That's sort of like I'm actually going to start where it's like everything here is like you have basic. Oh, okay, all right. And that, okay, gotcha. In that case, I try to take a lot of these things and put a different spin on them. So I'm not going to be like, how are you? I'm not going to be that. Yeah. See, this is my issue. So I try to keep a happy balance between you guys where you're trying to learn sort of like the basics, but I also give you guys something that you might not know. That's how I try to get it. You're going to be like my guy. So I'm going to kind of like put it over at your level. Let's go with the I know I need to slow down for you. Oh, that happened. Yeah, that wasn't you. It does that sometimes. Yeah, that was on Wi-Fi. No, it's like that phone. Okay. If you're on the internet.
Spanish teacher. He's lucky enough to be able to take the lead this year to kind of go around and give out his message and speak. And so we're lucky enough to have him here. Integrating technology to engage students and create unique learning experiences. He has created the Ditch That Textbook blog, which he blogs about often. He's a Google certified teacher. He co-hosts a podcast. And so I'm sure he'll tell you more about everything else that he's doing. And so
all right, thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, show of hands, how many of you feel like your brains are full out to here right now with all the sessions you've been to? Yeah, I know exactly how that feels. You get into this afternoon, you're like, oh, I can't cram anything else into my brain, you know? What I've got for you is, I've got a whole bunch of cool things that you can do with Google Apps. Like Google Apps, obviously, I mean like Docs and Sheets and Slides, which is kind of like Word and PowerPoint and Excel. But there's some other ones too. And my big thing with this is that sometimes we can look at these tools and we can use them differently than we always think that we're supposed to. One of my favorites is slides. I've got lots of examples of how you can use slides to do things other than put slides on the screen and just show presentations. There's a lot that you can do with it. So those are the kinds of things you're going to get from me. And if your brain does feel full out to here right now, every activity that I'm going to talk about is on this webpage. And so if you want to write this down, if you want to bookmark it, this page isn't going anywhere. You can refer back to it in a week or a month or a year. It's here I'll use my shadow, ditchthattextbook.com/Google Genius. You can, and actually if you go there right now on your Chromebook or your laptop, then there will be lots of hands-on stuff that you can try. If you've got an iPad and you've got like the Slides app on it, there are some things that you can probably do too. Sometimes, if you've got iPads in your school and you do Google, you probably know that sometimes iPad and Google are not always the best of friends. But there are some things that you'll be able to do. But lots of hands-on stuff for you to do here. And lots of things that you can start plugging into your class immediately. So before we do that, and if you've been in any of my sessions, you probably already heard this, I want to give you something for free. And so if you're on this page and you scroll down to this part right here, the free ebook. This ebook is called 101 Practical Ways to Ditch That Textbook. And for me, ditching that textbook means finding ways to engage kids with technology and creativity and all of that is different than just answer the questions at the end of the chapter. Do this workbook page, do this worksheet. And so I've got lots of practical ideas. There are links, there are screenshots, there are icons, all in this one ebook. It's totally free. It's different than this book, which I highly recommend. This one right here. This is completely different, and you can get it for free. So all you have to do is you scroll down, you put in your email address, your first name, your last name, and you hit the red button. And it sends that ebook directly into your inbox. And then you can just open it up. Has anybody gotten this book while you've been here at ICE already? Okay, a few of you. Well, let's get on it, people. Okay? So it's a PDF. You can open it on your laptop, on your tablet, on your smartphone. It doesn't matter. What this will also do is it'll subscribe you to my email newsletters. I send out, different ideas for using technology and creativity and all of that stuff in the classroom about twice a week, usually on Mondays and Thursdays. And so you get that as an added bonus. So just wanted to let you guys know that was all out there. So, okay. That said, I know when I started using Google Apps in my classroom, it's been a few years, and I mean, when they told me that all my students would have a Google account and that we would have access to all of this and I didn't have to take my little back channels to try to get around to it, I mean, it was really kind of like Christmas. For me at least it was, because it opened up lots of collaborative things my students could do together, and it let them create things using this powerful group of apps. And so I'm going to start with a little bit more basic things, and then we're going to kind of work our way down to not really complicated things, but again, some things that you might not have thought of before. So, so let's start in Docs and Documents. And so the first thing is shared notes. I'm actually going to kind of pop some, just open up some files and throw them over here. Shared notes, if you've been using Google Apps, this probably isn't anything new to you, but if you're new to it, there's this one little button up in the top right-hand corner of a document and a slideshow and a Google Sheets spreadsheet or a Google drawing, and it's that little blue share button right there. That right there is the most powerful button, I think, in all of Google Apps. And so if this is new to you, I'll go over it real quick. If it's not, I'll go over it real quick. And it won't take very much time. So this right here is really cool. Has anybody used voice typing yet? Okay, that's a newer feature. I wasn't going to say anything about it until I popped this thing up. If you go to Tools and you go to voice typing, watch. My computer will type what I say as I say it, period. That way, I don't have to type myself, period. This is huge for students who struggle to type and want to get their ideas down, period. It's pretty close, right? And I can go back and change. Oh, well, okay. It changed it back to down. Pretty great, right? So, I mean, it's a time saver, but it also can be huge for special needs students who might struggle with inputting ideas into the, using a keyboard. So, okay, so we're talking about the share button. So if students create a document, there's a couple of ways that they can share it with each other. This is my favorite one, is if you share a link, but you can also email a link. And basically what this means is that you can allow other people to jump into this document with you and make changes to that document. And so you got this one big collaborative space. I say this with the shared notes part for this reason. I do group projects sometimes. You probably do group projects or group work. And if they get started and they're trying to gather all their information all in one place, they do it on a piece of paper, they go home, and then they come back, and guess what? Somebody's absent. Always. And guess who it is? It's always the kid with the notes. Am I right? And so their partner always comes up to me and is like, Mr. Miller, so-and-so, my partner, they aren't here, and they've got the notes. And you know what this face is? That's the, please don't make me do anything to their face. Right? So you can totally avoid this if your students work out of the same Google document. And all they have to do is create one and then share it with each other by either adding their email addresses, or if one person gets the link and then gives it to the other student, they can all come into the same document. It's huge. The other great thing about this is this little button right here. And so this goes off of number 2 on my list right here, which is rethinking rough drafts. You know how with the old, if you've ever had students write for you, the old version of the rough drafts is basically this. Student writes, student submits to teacher, teacher marks up, teacher hands it back to student, student makes changes, student turns in the revised copy, right? And so that's the old rough draft process. Now, the new rough draft process is that you don't need a rough draft. Because if the student is working in a document and the teacher, if they've shared it with the teacher can come in and just check it out whenever. And so as they're formulating their thesis statement or whatever and they get started and you're going, oh my goodness, that thesis statement is a train wreck, we have to change it. At least that way you're not getting that train wreck thesis statement in the rough draft and they have to blow up their whole paper and start over again. So that can be huge in the writing process at least. And so the way to do that is, let's say this sentence needs work. I can highlight it and click on this add the comment. Actually, there was a little button over here that I could have clicked too. And then I can give them some specific advice like, this needs work. Not very specific, was it? And what's neat about this is that if the student sees this, they don't even have to come to you face to face to get feedback. Because they can just come over here to the reply and they can say, what do you mean? I don't think the conversation would go exactly like this. But they put their comment here, and now this is a nested conversation. So it's like all of the comments are all stuck together here. So this whole conversation right here is about that sentence. It really organizes it for you. And then whenever you're done talking about it, once it gets resolved or revised, just resolve it and it goes away. And you can still go back to this comment button right here and you can see the old comments. So if you want to go back and see what you talked about, it's there. Okay, so as far as the rough draft process, totally eliminates it. I know students are writing in so many different classes that this could be big. Okay, so that's that. Again, like I said, starting basic. Now let's get into something cool that you might not have expected, especially since it's slides, and that's probably my favorite Google app. That one or drawings, one of the two. Okay, this activity right here is a go-to activity in my class. This is one that I use on a weekly basis sometimes. Basically what I'll do is I'll create a slide presentation. And the number of students that I have in my class is the number of slides in that slide presentation. So I take that slide presentation and I share it with all my students. Now to do that, there's a couple of ways. I could take, remember the blue share button we just looked at? I can take the link and I can give my students that link. Or I can email it to all of them. If you have Google Classroom will do this for you. You just put the link right into your Google Classroom and they can jump right in. So there's a couple of ways to do that. And so once my students get into the slide presentation, I'll go, okay, you're number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4, you're number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, until everybody has a number. They go to the slide with their number, and that one slide is their own little piece of digital real estate. I usually use the title for their name, so type their name into the title, and then I'll give them a little activity to do. Go out on the web and let's say we're getting ready to study Costa Rica in my Spanish class, high school Spanish teacher. We're getting ready to study Costa Rica. I want you to go do some internet research and find 2 interesting facts about Costa Rica and 2 pictures, stick them on your slide, go. That quick activity, once they get used to it, might take 5 minutes. And so once they're done, think about what they've created once they're done. If you think about it, if I've got 20 students, 20 slides, 2 facts each, 2 pictures each, right? If you do the math, that is 40 facts and 40 pictures. I just outsourced a 20 slide, 40 fact, 40 picture presentation to my students. And they picked out information that was interesting to them that I probably never would have picked. Now granted, some of it may be bogus information, but that gives you an opportunity to talk about legitimate sources on the web. Okay, enough talk. Let's try it. This is going to be chaos with this many people, but we're going to try it, okay? So if you want to play along, click there. Now, I don't know how the Wi-Fi is going to react to, I mean, we might make a Wi-Fi router cry somewhere around here with all these people trying to jump onto it, but, and if we get way too many people in here, there might be a little error message at the top that says, this file is really full, come back later when it's not. And so you can only have so many people. I think it's like 100 people. I don't think we're going to get that here, but in your class, you shouldn't have any issue with this. Okay, so there's a lot of people in here. I've got 60. By the way, Control-M is the keyboard shortcut for a new slide. So I'm just tapping on the M key right now. And it's going to put a whole bunch of them in there. Okay. Usually I would go around and I'd say, okay, you're 2, you're 3, you're 4, you're 5, you're 6, but there's a lot of you guys. So I'm going to try. We're going to try this, and we'll see if it works. I want you to try to find a slide. If you're doing this, try to find a slide that doesn't have anybody in it. You know how you can tell if somebody's on that slide? If you come over here to the little thumbnail, you see that little thing right there? That means somebody's on that slide. Don't go to it. Okay? So try to find your own slide and put your name as the title. And please, if somebody takes your slide, don't be upset about it. Just go find a different one. You could be shocked at my high school kids and they're like, I was using this slide and somebody just took it. Like, go make a new slide. They're free, they're digital, you know? It's not a big deal. So go ahead and put your name on as the title. And here's what I want you to do. Here's your example. I want you to think about where, if you could go anywhere in the world on vacation, where would you go? Some of you already have it, I bet. So in this text box right here on your slide, I want you to tell me where you would go, why you would go there, what kind of stuff you would do, just stuff like that. And then if you want extra credit, add a link, a clickable link with that button right there. And then if you want even more extra credit, add a picture. Okay? So take a moment. Go ahead and jump onto your slide. Now, if you're working, go ahead and keep working. If you're not working, I'm going to show you something up here. So don't feel bad if you're working and you have me totally blocked out. My picture over here. Again, this is to those of you that aren't working on your own slide. It looks like some of you already have some progress, so that's good. My picture over here. Let me ask you something about pictures. If you want students to go find a picture for you, where are they going to go? Just say it out loud. Google. Google Images, right? What's the problem with kids going and finding pictures on Google Images? Sometimes they can be scary. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, they're low resolution. Yeah, that too. The thing I was thinking of was that a lot of times we don't have the rights to use the pictures that we find on a standard Google image search. So what's great is if you want students to be good digital citizens and use good pictures, watch this. If you go to Insert Image, or if you click on this little image button right here, hang on a second. It doesn't have my tabs. Try this again. Okay. Huh? Yours is sitting? Okay. That's what I thought was going to happen with the Wi-Fi maybe. Okay, anyway, what I was hoping it was going to do was if we hit insert, now mine's sluggish too. Okay, if you hit insert image and there aren't a million people in your file, there is this little tab up at the top, right about here. Ah, there it is, called search. And I saw that at first and I'm like, that's just a regular Google Images search. That's not any better. But then I read the fine print. This says, results shown are labeled for commercial reuse with modification. That's a Creative Commons license. And if you're not familiar with Creative Commons, you've got a couple of different licenses with pictures. You've got copyright, which means this is my picture, I took it, it's mine. You can't use it unless I give you permission. But then you've got Creative Commons where it says, this picture is still mine, I still took it, but you can use it. And there's lots of different variations of it. And so basically, the long and the short of it is, if your students find pictures through this search, they are licensed to be reused in a presentation, whether you publish that presentation on the web or you show it in public, or basically about whatever you want to do with it, it's licensed to be used. So by finding pictures through this, you're actually helping your students be better digital citizens by using pictures they are able to use. And there are a lot of good images out here too. Like, I did mine about Disney. Now check this out. Do you know about this, the color search? I just want red pictures of Disney. Red. I just want green pictures of Disney. Green. Because it finds the words and then it analyzes the image. So if you're looking for apples and you want a yellow apple, you just type in apples and you click your little yellow thing. And then you can use that. So if you didn't know that existed, that's pretty cool. Then there's this. That's called masking. Do you know that you can make your picture a different shape other than a rectangle? Okay, here's how you do it. And if you did, more power to you. Okay, so let's say we want to turn this into a triangle. I click on this, and there's this crop tool. And you may have seen the crop tool before. But what you probably haven't seen, if you don't know about this trick, is the little triangle right next to it. And it drops down all of these shapes that you can turn your picture into. So let's say we love Cinderella's castle. We love it, and we want to turn it into a heart. Aww, right? And so then we can resize it, and of course the
the picture changes based on the way that you resize it, and then I can change it right back into a. So that's kind of neat to be able to do. Oop, there we go. For certain effects, sometimes it's nice to be able to do that. So, okay. I want to look at a couple of your slides real quick. Sometimes I'll go through all of them. I think I'm just going to look at a couple of them. So, Dan is all about Walt Disney World too. And he figured out how to use the masking tool also. Italy, very good. Picture. Susan gets extra credit. Michelle's going to the Tetons. Beautiful picture. Link, double extra credit. I don't know what double extra credit gets you. Okay. Any warm beach resort this time of year? Amen to that. And last one. Terrence is going to go to Iceland. Oh, that's what we were just talking about, wasn't it? Yeah. Because of the extensive geological features present in the country, volcanoes, etc. Awesome. Love it. Very good. Okay, so you can see how that all works. Now, the other side of this is that once kids are done with this, whatever it is that they put on their slide, and you can use this for writing prompts too. If you give them some sort of writing prompt and let them write onto their slide, here's the cool thing. You can turn it into a blog. You know, a blog, like you write something. It's kind of like a Facebook post. You write something, and then people can come and comment on it, right? It basically is collaborative writing. It turns your writing into a conversation. So what you can do is, remember that comment feature that I showed you earlier? If I wanted to say something about Iceland to Terrence, I could come over here, I could double click that, and then I could hit the little comment button, and now I'm putting comments over there. Which is kind of like sort of basic functionality, but if you think about it, how many of your students at whatever grade level you teach, how many of them are like top-rate social media users, right? And so they're used to commenting and liking and replying and hearting and retweeting and regramming and Snapchatting and all of that stuff, right? This is right up that alley. So if we can go to their world, into that social world and engage it, if we do this, they're still talking about our content, aren't they? It's just engaging in the conversation in a different format that they're a little more comfortable with. So you can turn this basic activity into an interactive, almost social type of activity. This is one of my favorite things, one of my go-tos, is to be able to create that little digital real estate and give them something to do there. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Let's jump down to 6. And if you were in my video project session, you've probably already seen this. So forgive me for showing it to you twice. But you can remember I was talking about how Google Slides, you can use it for more than just presenting slides up on the screen, right? You can use it for stop motion animation. Let me show you an example, and then we'll talk about how you do it. Here we go. How many of you were in my earlier session where I showed you this? Okay, just a few of you. Okay, good. And this is the old Google Docs. This is a really old version of it. Back when Slides was still called Docs. No animation software, no high-tech hardware, nothing but Google Docs. Not bad, huh? So, did you figure out how they did it?
Let me show you. Okay, so basically what they did was they created, let me pull up a new slide presentation here. Okay, so basically they created the first scene. And on that first scene, they built it out of shapes and lines and text and stuff like that, right? So let's go over to the shapes here and let's put a little square. There. It's okay. No problem. Okay, so we've got that. And then what they did was once they built that first scene that they wanted to animate it, all you got to do is right-click on that slide and duplicate it. Makes an exact carbon copy of the previous one. Only now I'm going to take everything that I put on there and I'm going to change it slightly. You know that's what that little dot up there was for, was to rotate it. I just surprised some people here, I think. Okay. Duplicate it. Make another little change. Duplicate it. Now this is obviously going to be very simple. Not nearly as complicated as that other one that we saw. But if we hit present, and I click through the slides real quick, makes it look like it's spinning, right? Up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, down, down. That's what I'm doing. I'm just flipping through the slides. Okay, so that's pretty basic, right? So if you can construct a scene and you want different parts of that scene to move, duplicate the slide, change something. Duplicate the slide, change something. And so if you're looking at that and you're going, yeah, but how in the world does this crazy video that I just saw, how does that connect with my content in my class? If that's what you're wondering, let me show you. Because, here we go. This is an enormous file and it may take just a second to load, but this is an example from a science class. There's a science teacher in the Philadelphia area named Chris Baker. And this was actually created by one of his students. Yeah, it's going to take a second to load. I'm not a science teacher, Spanish teacher, right? So I'm told that what this is an example of the sodium-potassium pump that has to do with the contraction of muscles. That's all that I know about this. The rest of it is just like abstract thought, all in little dots and circles and stuff. So if you're a science teacher, you may know a little bit more about this. But basically, Chris's students did exactly what we were just talking about. So I'm going to hit present. And again, it'll take a second to load this up. And all I'm going to do is just start clicking through those slides. And what they did was they built their scene, and then they gave us a little legend up at the top. And it's going to say a yellow circle means this, a red circle means this, a yellow triangle means this, and so on and so forth. And then as we're clicking through, we can see how all those things, different things interact. So this obviously works. This is a science example. You could totally do this with storytelling. Put the different characters into place, have them move around, have little speech bubbles come up and they talk. You could do this with a math problem, and you could have the different steps pop on and have explanations on it and kind of walk somebody through step by step of a math problem. There's so many ways you can use this. Okay, so there's the first scene right there. So all these different things mean something. How's that for specific for you? All right, let's watch it in action. Ready? All I'm doing here is I'm just clicking through the slides. I would hit the down button, but that doesn't move it fast enough. So I'm going to hit the down button and the right button, like boom, 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 like this, like a drum. Ready? Here we go. Isn't that awesome? Oh, it's getting bogged down on me a little bit. Still get the idea. And so if it looks complicated, think of all the moving parts. In each one, you have a couple of circles that are moving around, right? But most of it stays set. Once you build this scene right here, the animation's a piece of cake. And so if we escape out of this, and we look over here, I'm pretty sure, yeah, 242 slides. And so if you look at that and think, holy cow, 242, how long is that going to take my students to make? Not as long as you think. Because once they have it, remember, duplicate, make a couple changes, duplicate, make a couple changes, duplicate, make a couple of changes. And it goes pretty quick. So I think really on lots of different levels, this is very doable. Now the other cool thing about this is if you want a video, remember how the one I showed you earlier was a video, right? It was like a YouTube video. There are screencasting tools. In fact, on the page here, I have a link right there to my favorite screencasting tool. A screencast, if you're not familiar with that term, a screencast is like a video of what's on your screen. And so you could put that slide presentation up there and take a screencast or record a video of what's going on your screen, and then students would actually have it as a video. So then they could share each other's videos and watch each other's animations and all of that. So that's all, pretty doable. If you've never done any screencasting before, if you use Google Chrome as your web browser, all you got to do is just click on that link and install it. So that little blue S button right up there, it's called Snagit. This is my screencasting. And so if I click right here, this is video of the screen, and it'll just start recording what's on my screen. So then I pull up my slides. I can pull up my slides ahead of time, and then just start advancing through it, and I'm recording it. Then all of a sudden you've got it as a video. Or you could always just load it up like I did and just chill it. So anyway, if you've never thought of using slides to do animation before, pretty cool stuff. Okay, let's move on. So there are 30 things on this page, and it is 3:18 and we're out of here at 3:30. I have 12 minutes left, so I'm not going to get to all of them. But you have the whole list if you want to go check all of them out. Some of them will be more relevant than others. But I want to jump forward to, I'm actually going to skip past sheets down to drawings. Okay, so if you don't know about Google Drawings, Google Apps is very much like Microsoft Office. Word, PowerPoint, Excel, you've got docs, sheets, and slides and sheets, right? But then there are some other ones that you didn't have in Office. And drawings is one of them. And so let me show you drawings real quick. Actually, let me pull this up here real fast. Okay, if you want to create a new drawing, you go to New, come down to More. See, there's docs, sheets, and slides. Those are the ones everybody thinks of. And there's drawings. So basically what drawings is, it's like a great big digital canvas. It's kind of like a big piece of paper or a poster board. It's a pretty simple tool, and let's pull this up. There, that'll look more like what you're used to. You have lines, shapes, text, pictures. You can even do comments too, but those are your main tools right there. And so there's a lot that you can do with this. Example, interactive posters. That's on my list under drawings. In fact, let me show you a good example of an interactive poster. Oh, I don't have an example of interactive posters. Okay, give me just a second. So basically, here's what I mean by interactive posters. If you create a poster on a poster board, you're probably going to draw the pictures, you're going to maybe cut them out of magazines, you need markers to draw in the letters, you're going to need glue sticks, you're going to need all this stuff, and your room's going to be a mess, right? Okay, so if you use Google Drawings instead, you can create this interactive poster. And what that'll do is it'll let you create something like this. Instead of using markers, you're going to use fonts, right? Instead of cutting things out of a magazine, you're going to use those images in the image search that I showed you earlier. And then you can use these shapes to kind of like block off text to group it together. Here's what makes it interactive, though, is that within the drawing, you can take your text and you can hyperlink it. Hyperlink meaning make it a clickable link, right? So if you did a regular old poster board poster, there is no click in that thing. What you got on the poster is all that you've got, right? If you create posters using drawings, now you can put these links, and now your poster becomes a jumping off point to more information. It's like the hub instead of the end all be all. And so you can click on it and go off to a YouTube video. You can click on it and you can go off to an explainer website. You can click on it and you can even go off into a shared Google document where people can type their ideas. So basically, adding these links right here opens the poster up to all of these new possibilities that you couldn't have before, that you can't do with a regular poster board, right? So that's one possibility with Google Drawings. And then this is what Google Drawings looks like. Okay, here's another one. Let me go back. This is going to be crazy with all of you guys in the room, but it's going to be fun, okay? So here's another thing you can do with drawings that you might not have expected. And that would be the interactive whiteboard. You can create a whiteboard up here on the screen that anybody in the room can control. So some of you, that sounds pretty scary. But if you have the conversations ahead of time and you get kids ready for your expectations, and you say, hey, only put things up here whenever we're supposed to. If you think it works for your kids, this could be really cool. Okay? So I'm going to suggest that maybe some of us, maybe not all of us, but some of us click through here. And again, let's do that same thing. Let's not add anything to the interactive whiteboard until we're ready. But it looks like it's too late for that. That's okay though. Oh, there we go. The anonymous otter took care of his square. Thank you for that. Okay, so here's what I want you to do with this. By the way, quick tip in Google Apps. Did you know if you want to draw a line like this and you're going, I just can't make it straight. Why can't I make it straight? Say it. How do you do it? Shift. If I hold in Shift, watch. Boom. It's straight. And then I just let go of my mouse button before Shift. And now I've got a straight line. Pretty cool. Okay, so imagine. We just need one line, thank you. Okay, imagine that line right there is the horizon line, separating the sky from the ground. And this is a beautiful mountain scene. There are mountains. Down here below, there's grass. There's maybe a pond or a stream and some trees. Maybe some people trying to climb the mountain. Maybe there's some clouds up in the sky and a sun or something. Can you envision it? Okay, now use, if you're in here. Okay, we're done. Wait a second. Did I mention there's a little bit of danger in doing this in front of you? Okay, so the shapes and the lines. Shapes and the lines. Let's all work together and see if we can build a mountain scene real quick. Like mountains. What shape are mountains kind of? Triangles. You can build mountains really well out of triangles. There's the sun. Good. We got a good start. Okay, if you're in the drawing, and all of a sudden we're heading in the right direction. Sorry? Padlet's good with like text and links and pictures and stuff. For this, if you want them to be able to move things around and do, this gives you a little bit more design freedom, I think. Padlet is good if you don't need all of that freedom. I love Padlet. I think it's great. Where'd our mountains go? Okay. Anyway. As we're still trying to do this, if you're looking at this and you're going, my students don't need to create mountains. Why is he showing us this? Well, imagine if you're working on... Never mind. Imagine if you're working on a math problem. Start with a math problem up here and you say, okay, who knows the next step? Someone raised their hand. You know it? Okay, go ahead and put it on it. Who knows the next step? You raise your hand. Okay, go ahead and put that up there. And if you've got a class that can work together in this same space, that's really cool. The other thing that this is neat for is if you put them into small groups. And then they're able to work on this side by side and talk about, okay, I'm going to do this part, you go do this part. Or even after the class is over, when they go their separate ways, Hey, here's the math problem. When they go their separate ways, they can still work on it wherever they are. Okay, I'm just about out of time. I have one more really cool thing that I want to show you, and then we're going to wrap up. By the way, feel free to stay in here and keep playing with the mountains if you want to. Okay, I'm just going to close it. Oh, look, a hobby balloon. That's nice. Yes, yes, that's exactly what it is. Okay, the last one I have to show you is the real-life comic strips. You can click on this and see if you want. I'm going to put it up on the screen. You don't have to. Okay, so in drawings and in slides, and in docs, in several of them, if you go to insert an image, there's an option to take a picture with your webcam. Okay? So, imagine if we can use that to create comic strips using pictures taken from your webcam. And it doesn't just have to be kids like doing the duck lips and the peace sign, you know, like one of those. It could be, you know, you turn your computer around and you face it over here in class and you've got a couple of kids acting out a scene. Or you've got two people interacting with each other. Once you've got the picture, you can add things on top of it, add shapes on top of it. Here's an example. And then I'm going to wrap up after this. I know I'm coming close to the end. And it's the end of the day. Okay, this was a presentation these guys did. And so they got the picture on the shapes. If you click on the shapes button up at the top, one of the options is callouts, and the callouts have these speech bubbles. Add a text box inside of the speech bubble, and boom, your picture has become like a comic strip. And so the way they did this was they put one page per slide in a slide presentation. Sometimes I'll do it in a Google drawing, and I'll put like lines so that I've got 6 little boxes and it'll look more like a traditional comic strip. That could work too. Gesture wildly to get your idea across, you know? Now watch this. All of a sudden this is going to go interactive. Throw a QR code up there. Now if you've got QR code readers, you can scan that QR code and it'll take you to this website, which was an easy way for them to be able to deliver the link to their audience. If your students create one of these and you want to get more information about a topic, they could stick a QR code on there that would make it scannable so people could go get more information. So there's a lot that you can do with that too. And I was starting to run out of time, so I wanted to hustle through that so you could see. Anyway, this site was created by a guy named Mike Petty, who has done a really neat job with this. And so if you want more information on that, it's all right there. There are lots more good Google things out here. I hope you guys have had a great time and a great day. Thank you so much for your my books are up here, and Fabulous Stitch That Text